What if I told you that the greatest power you could ever hold has nothing to do with wealth, status, or control over others, but everything to do with your own mind? For centuries, the Stoics believed that true strength doesn't come from bending the world to your will, but from mastering yourself. And in a world full of chaos, distractions, and constant change, this ancient wisdom is more relevant than ever. To the Stoic, life is not a series of random events. It is a training ground. Every setback, every joy, and every loss is an opportunity to sharpen the mind and fortify the character. They did not seek to escape hardship, but to walk through it with clarity, resilience, and unshakable purpose. In this journey, there are 6 unbreakable laws, disciplines forged in the fire of experience that serve as tools for daily living. These are not lofty theories to be admired from afar. They are practices to be lived, tested, and repeated until they become second nature. Each law strengthens the others, creating a foundation for a life of stability, courage, and meaning. The Stoics never promised quick fixes. They promised mastery through repetition, reflection, and the alignment of thought and action. Their goal was simple yet profound: to train the mind to stand firm when life turns uncertain, to act with integrity even when it is costly, and to live with intention no matter the circumstances. So let us begin. Chapter 1. The Law of Control. The Stoics taught that the very first step toward mastery is to separate what lies within your control from what does not. This distinction is the bedrock of all Stoic practice. You cannot command the actions of others, the shifts of fortune, or the unfolding of events, but you can command your own thoughts, choices, and responses. When you fail to draw this line, your mind becomes trapped in a relentless cycle of resistance, wrestling with circumstances you cannot alter. This invisible struggle slowly erodes emotional stability, leaving behind chronic tension, frustration, and fatigue. Over time, it shapes your outlook, making you expect difficulty, feel powerless, and surrender your peace of mind to forces outside your reach. The cost of this error is immense. Not only does it waste precious time, but it drains the focus and creativity that could otherwise be directed toward meaningful progress. Energy that could solve real problems within your influence is wasted in an endless quarrel with reality. The Stoic way is different. It is the art of quickly recognizing this drain, pausing before it deepens, and consciously shifting attention back to where it matters, to the realm of your control. This is not weakness. It is supreme discipline. By redirecting your mental and emotional resources toward what you can actually shape, your decisions, your words, your inner dialogue, you safeguard your strength. This practice requires self-awareness, vigilance, and deliberate action. It means carrying this discipline into every role you hold: consistency in relationships, reliability in your work, and integrity in your daily conduct. Accepting the limits of influence is not giving up. It is choosing wisely where to spend your finite energy, ensuring it creates real change rather than being wasted in futile resistance. To live by this law, the Stoics taught a simple yet powerful exercise: pause before reacting. In that pause, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let go of the illusion of control and focus on adjusting your mindset, refining your approach, or preparing your next step. If the answer is yes, act with clarity and strength, ensuring your effort is aligned with your values and directed toward what truly matters. Repeat this process, and your impulses transform into purposeful responses. Instead of reacting blindly, you act with intention, building harmony between thought and action. And when the mind stops resisting the inevitable, stability arises. This stability becomes a shield, protecting you from unnecessary emotional storms and granting you the calm required for reflection, planning, and true problem-solving. The energy once lost in inner conflict is now directed toward challenges that demand resilience, focus, and adaptability. This is the first step to mastery, the foundation upon which all other Stoic disciplines are built. With time, this discipline of focus begins to reshape your very nature. You meet difficulties without hesitation, and when circumstances shift suddenly, you adapt with clarity instead of panic. Your judgment grows sharper as you weigh every option with patience and reason, refusing to be dragged into hasty choices. Through the repeated experience of enduring hardship without losing direction, resilience takes root and strengthens. From this discipline arises something rare, a calm that does not vanish when the world becomes chaotic. It becomes an anchor, holding you steady even in storms, allowing you to navigate life with clarity instead of confusion. This calm is not passive relief. It is active strength. It sharpens your ability to evaluate situations with balance, granting you the power to act decisively when action is needed, without being enslaved by impulse. As this inner calm deepens, long-term stability forms. It builds a foundation that remains unshaken under pressure, where the mind stays organized, clear, and capable of discerning priorities even in moments of urgency. While others are swept away by heightened emotion, the Stoic trains the mind to weigh consequences and choose wisely. Applied consistently, this calm becomes a permanent feature of character. It begins to influence not only how you endure hardships, but also how you approach opportunities. It supports wisdom by encouraging reflection, nurtures patience by granting time for events to unfold, and fuels foresight by helping you anticipate outcomes with clarity. Decisions stop being impulsive and instead become purposeful, aligned with values and directed toward long-term aims. This is where a profound transformation takes place. Purposeful action becomes second nature, and with it comes a durable strength, an inner resilience that does not depend on changing external conditions. This strength produces a quiet confidence, a deep assurance that remains with you in every stage of life. Chapter 2. The Law of Reason. The Stoics believed that reason is the highest faculty of the human mind, the very power that sets us apart from other beings. Reason is the guiding light that enables humans to live with clarity, moral direction, and harmony. To live according to reason is to live in alignment with nature, to choose virtue over impulse, and to act with integrity across every season of life. Living by reason demands choices grounded in clear evidence, shaped by logical understanding, and guided by principles that remain steady even when circumstances shift. Such choices do not arise from reflex or emotion. They are born of deliberate reflection. This reflection forms the foundation of a stable, consistent, and virtuous life. Reason is not a passive state, it is an active discipline. It demands patience, balance, and a genuine will to understand all sides before reaching a conclusion. The Stoic breaks down events to their core, separating fact from assumption, truth from illusion, until what remains is clear and undeniable. From here, they weigh the possible courses of action, measuring each against the virtues of justice, courage, and wisdom, ensuring that the chosen path is both morally sound and practically effective. This process deliberately resists haste. It allows time for hidden details to surface, for patterns to reveal themselves. It acknowledges that emotions are part of human nature, but trains them to serve judgment rather than rule it. A reasoned mind functions with deliberate rhythm, thorough analysis, and an unwavering commitment to principles tested through experience. When reason governs action, decisions gain a steadiness that outlasts pressure. The grip of fear, the flare of anger, and the pull of unchecked desire lose their dominance. In their place arises a consistent form of judgment, firm, reliable, and enduring. The Stoics taught a simple but powerful practice to cultivate this steadiness. Pause before deciding. In that pause, ask, does this choice align with my highest values? Does it serve a purpose beyond fleeting satisfaction? Will I respect this decision years from now? By applying these questions consistently, decision-making becomes principled, resilient even under extreme stress, uncertainty, or sudden change. To integrate this law into daily life requires a conscious slowing of pace, especially when urgency or emotion pressures you to act recklessly. For the Stoic, patience is not weakness. It is strength. It is the refusal to be rushed into choices you will regret, and the commitment to act only when reason and virtue are in full agreement. To practice Stoicism is to create intentional space before reacting. a deliberate pause between stimulus and response. In that pause lies your greatest strength, the chance to think clearly before speaking, deciding, or acting. It's in this space that the Stoic gathers accurate and relevant information, stripping away distortions caused by fear, pride, or anger. You do not simply react, you evaluate. You identify both the moral principles and the practical considerations involved, and you project the immediate, short-term, and long-term consequences of each possible choice. The Stoic also looks at the ripple effects of their actions. Every decision you make shapes not only your own path but also the stability and lives of those around you. Will your choice foster fairness, order, and integrity, or will it create instability and regret? This kind of disciplined reasoning is not about hesitation, it is about precision. Over time, this habit sharpens your judgment, improves your ability to stay composed under pressure, and builds the inner strength to perform effectively, whether in ordinary routines or in moments of high stakes. When practiced consistently, impulsive reactions begin to fade. In their place arise thoughtful, value-driven responses. Reason transforms life from a random series of reactions into a purposeful journey, where each choice is made with clarity, foresight, and deliberate direction. It functions as a compass that holds you steady during emotional storms, unexpected setbacks, or the chaos of external forces. Instead of being thrown off course by temporary conditions, you move forward with measured consistency. Reason also develops foresight. By preparing in advance for challenges, you learn to anticipate obstacles before they arrive. The Stoic does not fear difficulty, but prepares for it, crafting effective responses ahead of time. This preparation allows you to act with confidence instead of panic, to meet obstacles with strategy rather than desperation. It sharpens execution as well. When each action is intentional and aligned with your principles, wasted effort is reduced, efficiency increases, and the quality of results improves. You begin to act not out of impulse, but out of wisdom, minimizing errors and strengthening outcomes. At its core, reason anchors you to stability. Principles such as justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom remain steady across all conditions, giving you a framework to rely on even when external events are unstable. This inner structure becomes your fortress, protecting you from being swept away by emotions or external chaos. It safeguards your mind against impulsive reactions and emotional volatility, allowing you to assess situations with calm objectivity. Over the years, this steady reliance on reason builds resilience, adaptability, and resourcefulness. You learn to remain composed in prolonged difficulty, not merely enduring hardship, but transforming it into growth. It nurtures patience, teaching you to wait for the right moment to act, to observe fully before committing, and to resist hasty conclusions. Reason also strengthens strategic thinking. It allows you to map outcomes in advance, anticipate future challenges, and craft solutions that balance both immediate needs and long-term goals. This foresight ensures that short-term benefits do not undermine lasting stability. Even in conditions of high pressure or incomplete information, you develop the capacity to act in ways that are both principled and effective. Through reason, distractions lose their power over you. You filter out noise, focus on priorities, and keep aligned with your deepest values. You adapt to changing circumstances without ever abandoning your moral bearings. In this way, reason becomes a stabilizing force in all areas of life, combining structure with flexibility so you can navigate the unexpected, practiced faithfully. This discipline transforms reason into a quiet but powerful ally, a guide that operates in the background of your daily life. It supports you not only in routine decisions, but also in the complex, sudden, and life-altering choices that define your path. With time, you begin to notice patterns others miss, anticipate challenges before they strike, and respond with confidence. In every trial, reason reinforces your ability to face uncertainty with calm assurance, unwavering integrity, and a purposeful sense of direction. It is not merely a tool for decision-making, it is the foundation of a Stoic life, the bedrock upon which resilience, clarity, and wisdom are built. Even in moments of crushing pressure or deep emotional strain, Stoicism insists that your actions remain anchored in your highest values and in your long-term vision. This is where true strength reveals itself. Not in easy moments of calm, but when storms rage and your resolve is tested. By holding fast to principle, you act not out of panic or impulse, but with clarity, steadiness, and moral strength. This cultivated presence strengthens your clarity of thought, deepens your insight, and provides the endurance needed to carry principled action across long seasons of trial. It functions as an anchor for the mind, holding perspective steady when confusion or uncertainty threatens to overwhelm. Rather than being consumed by chaos, you stand rooted in reason, guided by an internal compass that keeps you aligned with what matters most. This foundation supports wise judgment, inner stability, and balanced decisions across all areas of life, personal, professional, and moral. Whether you face a conversation that demands both honesty and tact, a career turning point that could reshape your future, or a private hardship that strains your resilience, this Stoic reasoning process steadies you. It supplies composure, confidence, and integrity, allowing you to act with precision no matter the weight of circumstance. This discipline ensures that your clarity and steadiness are not temporary states that vanish when tested, but enduring qualities that remain with you through conflict, disorder, or prolonged hardship. It becomes a constant presence, filtering out distractions, organizing your priorities, and keeping your focus on what is truly essential. You navigate with purpose and foresight, reading the flow of events like a sailor reads the sea, adjusting your sails without ever losing sight of your destination. In this way, you gain the strength to stand firm when principles are challenged, the patience to endure when resolution seems distant, and the wisdom to adapt when flexibility is required, all without betraying your integrity. Over time, this disciplined practice transforms into an unshakable source of direction. It empowers you to live continuously in alignment with your higher self, to meet uncertainty with courage, and to let every decision reflect not only immediate needs, but also the larger vision of the life you are building. This brings us to the Stoic law of discipline. The ancients understood a powerful truth. Without discipline, reason and control remain idle, no matter how refined your thoughts or noble your intentions may be. Discipline is the bridge between knowing and doing, between understanding what is right and living it out. It is the steady rhythm that carries ideals from the realm of thought into the fabric of daily life. Discipline is not about rare feats of extreme willpower. Instead, it is forged through small, deliberate choices made day after day. It shows itself in the quiet consistency of waking early with intention, in speaking truthfully when silence would be easier, and in finishing work with care even when no one is watching. It lives in the decision to choose nourishing routines over fleeting indulgences, to remain committed to long-term goals through doubt and discouragement, and to sustain steady effort rather than depending on bursts of temporary motivation. It is present in keeping promises you made to yourself in private, in meeting obligations even when they seem minor, and in approaching humble, repetitive tasks with the same diligence as prestigious ones. Through this daily pattern of action, the Stoic conditions both body and mind to act with reliability under all circumstances, unmoved by moods, convenience, or shifting external conditions. For the Stoic, discipline is an expression of self-respect and self-command. It is the deliberate refusal to hand control of your life over to impulse, distraction, or the pull of comfort. Neglecting discipline means surrendering to laziness, fear, and the temptation of ease, forces that quietly erode judgment and resolve. Upholding discipline, on the other hand, affirms sovereignty over your own choices. It builds trust in yourself. For every act of discipline is living proof that you can rely on your own word and follow through on your commitments. This trust is not created by rare heroic gestures. It emerges from countless ordinary days, weeks, and years of steady consistency, of actions aligned with values, even when they are inconvenient, unseen, or unacknowledged. Over time, this accumulation of discipline becomes character. You cultivate this law by designing clear, realistic practices that reflect your values, then reinforcing them through daily action until they become second nature. Begin by focusing on the areas where you most often hesitate, procrastinate, or allow yourself to settle for less than your best. Apply steady attention here until these habits become part of your natural rhythm, requiring little willpower to maintain. Keep an honest record of your progress to strengthen accountability and sharpen awareness of your patterns. Set precise and measurable standards for yourself so your actions remain intentional and sharp rather than vague or drifting. Revisit and refine these standards regularly to ensure they reflect your evolving priorities and your long-term aims. Through this process, discipline becomes more than effort. It becomes conditioning. Each small act of discipline prepares you for greater demands. It equips you with physical endurance, mental steadiness, and emotional resilience. When larger trials arrive, uncertainty, monotony, hardship, or prolonged difficulty, you are already trained to persist without losing focus or purpose. For the Stoic, discipline is not a burden, but a profound freedom. It frees you from the tyranny of impulse and the weakness of inconsistency. It empowers you to live with integrity, to act with reliability, and to face life with the calm strength of one who owns their choices fully. A truly disciplined life is anchored firmly in principle, yet remains fluid in its outward expression. It does not cling rigidly to one method or routine, nor does it abandon its moral center when challenged by shifting circumstances. Instead, it holds fast to what is timeless, values, integrity, and virtue, while adjusting strategies to meet the realities of the moment. This balance prevents discipline from becoming either brittle or aimless. It ensures movement remains steady and deliberate, even when plans must be recalibrated. Such adaptability is not born of weakness, but of wisdom. It is rooted in awareness and guided by values that remain consistent, no matter the conditions. This allows intelligent adjustments without compromising the principles that form the foundation of conduct. By doing so, the Stoic avoids stagnation on one hand and moral drift on the other. When life presents new obstacles, adaptability encourages creative problem-solving, while discipline safeguards integrity. By ensuring every adjustment remains aligned with virtue, this combination of firmness and flexibility strengthens the ability to function effectively under the widest possible range of conditions. Whether life brings stability, growth, and opportunity, or upheaval, uncertainty, and profound loss, the disciplined Stoic remains composed and effective. Discipline becomes a living strength that bends with circumstance yet never breaks, holding fast to its core while adapting its outward form. This adaptability supports smooth transitions through life's many seasons. When familiar paths are disrupted or permanently altered, discipline keeps the forward momentum alive. It acts as both compass and stabilizer, ensuring that even sudden changes do not dissolve direction. In these moments, discipline not only sustains motion, but also reorients with precision, directing energy toward the most effective, value-consistent actions available. Through sustained and conscious practice, this integration of structure and adaptability refines discipline into a resilient force. It becomes more than habit. It evolves into a complete framework that upholds every other Stoic virtue, weaving them seamlessly into daily life. Reason, control, acceptance, and purpose all find their expression through discipline, for without consistent action they remain abstractions. Discipline transforms them into lived reality. From the smallest personal routines to the most defining choices that shape legacy, discipline ensures that actions align with values. Over the long term, it builds an unshakable base capable of sustaining steady progress toward deeply important goals. Even in the face of repeated setbacks, conflicting demands, shifting priorities, or prolonged uncertainty, it prevents success from diluting humility, reminding the Stoic that achievement is not a license for complacency, but an opportunity for deeper responsibility. In times of prosperity, discipline safeguards character by reinforcing humility, focus, and clarity. In hardship, it acts as an anchor, keeping judgment sharp, priorities organized, and resolve unshaken even when the external world is unstable, volatile, or openly hostile. Discipline defends against the erosion of conviction. It filters out distractions that would scatter attention and shields against diversions that weaken clarity. At the same time, it consistently points forward with steadiness and foresight. It reinforces the boundaries that preserve integrity while guiding choices that sustain progress. In this way, discipline functions as both shield and guide, protecting what matters, most while directing the will toward purposeful action. The measure of discipline is not found in moments of intensity or single acts of effort, but in the consistency of action over time. Progress is not only about visible achievement, but also about the faithful safeguarding of ethical commitments and the cultivated ability to remain steady through both calm and storm. This makes discipline more than a tool for productivity. It becomes a guardian of inner stability and outer integrity. When practiced to its fullest, discipline develops into a constant companion. It offers steady guidance when uncertainty clouds vision and firm defense when adversity strikes. It ensures that every choice, great or small, is aligned with the life you are building. It sustains momentum, refines clarity, and strengthens the bond between daily action and long-term purpose. This naturally leads to the law of acceptance, another cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Acceptance is the willingness to see reality exactly as it is, not as you wish it were, not filtered through denial or distorted by comfort. The Stoics taught that much of human suffering is born not from reality itself, but from resisting it. We cling to imagined alternatives, dwell on the past as if it could be rewritten, or demand that the present moment conform to our desires. Acceptance does not mean approval or surrender. It does not require you to like or endorse what is happening. What it requires is honesty, an unflinching readiness to face facts without bending them to preference or hiding them behind self-deception. This discipline of vision frees you from the exhausting weight of fighting with what has already occurred or what cannot be changed. When you accept reality, you stop bargaining with the past. You release the futile habit of rehearsing alternative versions of events. You stop wasting energy in arguments with the present, demanding it bend to your will. Instead, you direct effort toward what can be shaped. This shift frees immense energy once wasted in resistance and channels it toward constructive action. Acceptance is therefore not passivity, but redirection. It sharpens awareness of the tools, opportunities, and relationships available in this very moment. It conserves strength that might otherwise be scattered across regrets or rigid expectations and focuses it instead on deliberate steps that shape the future. To practice acceptance, learn to detect the inner signs of resistance: tightened muscles, repetitive thoughts, stalled progress, the sense of circling the same ground. These are signals that you are wishing instead of working. The Stoic discipline is to pause and ask, am I spending energy resisting what is, or engaging with what can be? Wishing consumes without effect. Working transforms reality, step by deliberate step. Over time, this practice creates a habit, the steady shift from mental protest to purposeful engagement. Each act of acceptance becomes a step away from stagnation and toward growth. With patience and persistence, acceptance transforms suffering into clarity and frustration into meaningful progress. This cultivated habit also strengthens resilience, as it trains you to move through setbacks without the detour of denial or the paralysis of resistance. Acceptance, when deeply internalized, becomes more than a passive recognition of events. It develops into a steady internal framework that sustains calm, measured thought in every circumstance. It equips you to meet situations directly, without delay, hesitation, or distortion, and to address them free from the exhausting effects of denial or the draining weight of unproductive emotion. This steadiness functions as a constant and reliable platform, one from which deliberate choices can be made and intentional action can be taken. Each decision then arises not from wishful thinking, nor from the distortions of fear or frustration, but from the clear perception of reality as it presently stands, guided by a sober awareness of what may be influenced and what must be endured. When choices are grounded in this clarity, energy is directed toward what can actually be shaped, ensuring that effort is not wasted on what lies beyond control. Over time, this discipline matures into a settled habit of living in harmony with reality, eliminating unnecessary struggle against the immovable and conserving strength for meaningful pursuits. Acceptance at this depth is not a fleeting state of mind, but a lasting orientation of character. It keeps the soul steady in times of loss, in seasons of uncertainty, and during periods of great change. allowing you to conserve both mental and physical resources by removing the inner resistance to what has already taken place. Without this discipline, the mind is easily consumed by tension, dragged into conflict with the unchangeable, which weakens judgment and drains resolve. With it, decisions remain based on clear observation and sound reasoning rather than being distorted by hopes, fears, or imagined outcomes. This steadiness in evaluation and response makes progress possible even in the face of unpredictability or prolonged trials. Your direction becomes consistent, not because conditions are favorable, but because the mind itself is anchored in principles that stand firm, regardless of circumstance. To practice such acceptance, one must approach each event with the disciplined intent to perceive it clearly before reacting. Notice when your thoughts drift toward resistance, and redirect them toward recognition of the situation as it is. Identify the elements that fall within your power and those that do not. Then resolve to focus entirely on what lies within your sphere of influence. This sharpens the clarity of your effort, preventing the waste of time and energy on what no action can alter. With repetition, this process builds resilience, sharpens focus, and makes calm reasoning more natural than impulsive reaction. By eliminating unnecessary internal struggle, you preserve strength for decisive, sustained action. At this level, acceptance becomes a foundation for effective living. It shapes a state of mind capable of adapting to change without confusion, of adjusting intelligently without surrendering principles, and of pressing forward even when the path is obstructed. It is a conscious decision to act where effort has effect, a deliberate commitment to focus entirely on what is within reach and to meet it with full presence. This readiness to work with reality as it presents itself nurtures the capacity to preserve both strategic direction and moral integrity, even in seasons of disruption, uncertainty, or sudden upheaval. It ensures that responses consistently reflect not only immediate needs, but also enduring values and long-term vision. As years pass, this cultivated acceptance becomes a constant companion, a silent strength that steadies thought when complexity grows heavy, conserves emotional and physical energy for what is essential, and preserves judgment so that choices are neither rushed nor distorted. It allows you to face life's shifting conditions with deep reserves of clarity, patience, and resolve. Acceptance thus evolves from a single act of recognition into a continuous discipline, one that sustains purposeful living and keeps the soul aligned with truth. Chapter 5. The Law of Purpose. The Stoics understood that a life without purpose drifts easily, carried off course by distractions, impulses, and the demands of others. Purpose provides the compass, the constant reference point that grants structure to thought, clarity to action, and direction to effort. It establishes an orientation that remains stable despite the inevitable storms of external change. Without a defined sense of purpose, decisions become reactive, shaped by passing moods or the influence of circumstance, leaving life fragmented and directionless. Purpose does not need to be conceived as a single unchanging ambition fixed for all time. Rather, it can be cultivated as a steady, deliberate commitment to live in harmony with your deepest values. It manifests in the discipline to approach each duty with care, in the conscious resolve to bring integrity to every conversation and decision, and in the determination to allow even routine actions to contribute to a broader and more meaningful direction. Purpose means placing every choice, however small, within a framework that reflects your principles and your vision of the life you wish to build. In this way, scattered actions become connected steps, and intentions are transformed into a unified path. To live with purpose requires both the clarity to choose your direction and the discipline to measure whether your daily actions remain aligned with that chosen course. For the Stoic, this is not an occasional reflection but an ongoing responsibility. They examine their lives in detail, asking whether their work moves them steadily toward their aims, whether their relationships contribute to strength and focus or create distraction and friction, and whether their habits reinforce long-term progress or gradually undermine it. This level of disciplined examination transforms vague intention into concrete guidance. It prevents the slow drift into patterns that yield no lasting value and replaces aimless activity with deliberate advancement. Each choice becomes a reflection of principle rather than impulse, ensuring that effort is never squandered on the trivial or the meaningless. By keeping decisions firmly tethered to well-defined values, the Stoic resists the unstable pull of moods or the fleeting pressures of external influence, instead relying on an inner compass that remains steady regardless of circumstance. To make this law of purpose an active force in daily life, begin by identifying the values that matter most to you. Define them with clarity and detail so that they can stand as fixed points of reference when conditions shift. Write them down with precision, along with the outcomes you seek in both the near term and the long horizon of life. Review these regularly, treating them as both a map and a measure, ensuring that they remain true reflections of your principles rather than vague aspirations. As new challenges, demands, and opportunities arise, weigh them against these values before committing your energy or attention. This practice creates a consistent filter that determines what deserves pursuit and what must be set aside. In this way, you shield yourself from diversions that would dilute focus or fragment progress. Over time, this deliberate form of self-governance becomes natural, streamlining decision-making and reducing the tension that comes from uncertainty. A clearly articulated purpose brings alignment between thought, feeling, and action, gathering all mental and physical resources into a unified direction. This alignment increases efficiency by ensuring that every decision, task, and effort serves the same overarching aim. It narrows attention to what truly matters, diminishing the temptation to scatter energy on pursuits that offer no enduring reward. As a result, progress becomes both deliberate and measurable. The clarity born from purpose strengthens resilience during adversity, because persistence is fueled not by blind endurance, but by meaningful conviction. Even when progress feels slow, even when conditions are harsh, the knowledge of why you continue sustains the will to press forward. Purpose becomes a stabilizing framework, a reminder of direction in moments of fatigue or resistance, guiding the mind back to its central aim and reinforcing the determination to act. This clarity also conserves energy, protecting it from being lost to indecision, hesitation, or competing interests that do not serve the chosen path. Over time, the alignment between values and action builds momentum, and momentum strengthens with each deliberate step taken. Every small act completed in harmony with purpose compounds into a larger foundation of progress. These accumulated efforts, repeated over time, produce not only measurable results but also deep meaning. Each accomplishment reinforces confidence, sharpens discipline, and cultivates a rhythm of steady forward movement that integrates seamlessly into the structure of daily life. Each task completed in alignment with purpose is more than an action. It is a reinforcement of identity, steadily shaping the self around principles you have consciously chosen. When decisions and habits consistently mirror your most vital values, they begin to reshape thought, influence perception, guide responses to challenges, and inform long-term vision. This transformation is gradual, not sudden. It grows with repetition and deepens with practice until the uncertainty that once clouded decision-making is replaced with a settled sense of direction. No longer is energy dispersed across conflicting priorities. Instead, it flows in a concentrated current toward actions that reinforce your chosen path. This creates a reliable, intentional pathway toward progress, built not on chance but on conscious design. In this light, endurance ceases to be mere tolerance of hardship. It becomes an active and deliberate choice to keep advancing regardless of obstacles. Every achievement, whether a small daily responsibility or a milestone of great significance, adds weight to your inner conviction, strengthening the resolve to persist. Progress feeds dedication, and dedication fuels further progress, forming a self-reinforcing cycle of steady improvement that weaves itself into identity. As these aligned choices accumulate, they form a durable structure for living, one that is both resilient and adaptable. This framework connects values, goals, and daily conduct into a coherent whole, enabling instant recognition of whether something belongs within your vision or stands outside it. Wasted motion is eliminated, and the friction of hesitation is diminished. Purpose anchors this framework, functioning as the fixed point that holds intentions, actions, and outcomes in harmony. By standing at the center, it ensures that energy flows toward what carries true weight and shields attention from pursuits that drain time while offering no meaningful return. This disciplined and deliberate application of effort transforms persistence into a guided, purposeful trajectory, one where every ounce of energy is consciously directed toward outcomes of lasting value. It ensures that forward movement is not scattered or reactionary, but deliberate, measured, and anchored in long-term priorities rather than dispersed across disconnected pursuits. Each action, regardless of how minor it may appear, becomes a meaningful contribution to the architecture of a life built on integrity, consistency, and unwavering clarity of direction. Over months and years, the ongoing alignment between deeply held values and daily choices forms a durable system of living, a personal framework capable of sustaining resilience in times of adversity, offering clarity in complex decision-making, and maintaining steadiness even when the surrounding world is unstable or unpredictable. This framework does not depend on perfect circumstances. It adapts to challenges, adjusts to new demands, and endures through constant change, so long as you continually return to the foundation of your values and the clarity of your chosen purpose. Each return serves as a reset point, bringing you back into alignment whenever the pace of life threatens to scatter focus or pull you off course. With sustained practice, this alignment produces a state in which progress is no longer a rare event, but a steady and dependable rhythm integrated into the natural flow of your decisions and actions. Each day's choices are guided by the same set of principles, steadily replacing confusion with a lasting clarity of direction. Discipline ceases to be a fleeting exertion applied in isolated bursts. It becomes woven into every action, shaping conduct with precision, steadiness, and reliability. Purpose acts as the unifying thread, linking decisions, actions, and intentions into a coherent whole, reinforced with each step forward. This creates a natural rhythm of living that is at once deliberate and deeply anchored. In such a state, success is measured not only by tangible results, but also by the unbroken habit of acting in harmony with one's values, even when doing so requires extended patience, measured restraint, or meaningful sacrifice. The effects of this sustained alignment are compounding in nature. Each purposeful decision strengthens the capacity for the next, sharpening judgment, deepening focus, and reinforcing the will to act decisively in service of long-term vision. With every cycle, the bond between intention and action grows more resilient, making it increasingly difficult for external conditions to dislodge you from your path. As the years pass, the life formed through this process develops an inner coherence that resists disruption, a steady resilience that absorbs adversity without losing direction, and a durable focus that holds firm even when external pressures challenge your plans. This stability grants the strength to remain grounded in turbulent times, the clarity to hold course when distractions press in, and the wisdom to ensure that every step builds seamlessly upon the last. It also fosters foresight, allowing you to anticipate challenges and adapt intelligently without ever sacrificing your guiding principles. This is the enduring strength of living with a clearly defined purpose, a strength that sustains momentum, fortifies integrity, reinforces discipline, and shapes a future that reflects deliberate intention and unwavering fidelity to chosen values. It ensures that the life you construct stands firm against the inevitable storms and shifting currents of time. Chapter 6. The Law of Virtue. The Stoics taught that virtue is the highest good, the central aim around which all other aspects of life should be ordered. Every other pursuit, wealth, reputation, influence, or power, is temporary in nature and often beyond your control. Virtue, however, belongs entirely to you, and no external force can strip it away without your consent. It is the complete alignment of thought, word, and deed with moral excellence, forming the unshakable foundation of character that determines how you meet every circumstance. For the Stoics, virtue manifests through the four cardinal qualities: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom provides the ability to discern truth from falsehood and to act from reason rather than impulse. Courage fortifies the will to do what is right even in the face of fear, hardship, or personal loss. Justice commits you to fairness, integrity, and the protection of what is honorable in all dealings with others. Temperance ensures balance, restraining excess, moderating desires, and keeping impulses under thoughtful control. These four pillars reinforce one another, shaping a balanced character capable of enduring external upheavals and inner conflict alike. To live by virtue requires constant self-examination and an unbroken awareness of how each decision sculpts your character. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming, either building moral strength or eroding it. The Stoic understands that the path of virtue is paved by the smallest of actions. Speaking truth when falsehood would be easier. Choosing fairness when no one is there to applaud. Resisting indulgence even in the privacy of solitude. These moments may appear minor, yet over time they accumulate, forming habits that harden into unshakable character. Virtue weaves coherence through life. It binds thoughts, words, and deeds into harmony, granting an inner steadiness that no storm can disturb. In this steadiness lies freedom, not the fleeting freedom of circumstance, but the profound freedom from impulse, fear, and the tyranny of fortune. True freedom is to act with integrity in all seasons, unshaken by the noise of the world. The Six Stoic Laws, when united, form a complete framework for living with strength and clarity. The law of control, to focus only on what is truly yours. The law of reason, to let wisdom, not impulse, guide your choices. The law of discipline, to transform intention into consistent action. The law of acceptance, to meet reality without resistance. The law of purpose, to move forward with unwavering direction. The law of virtue, to unify them all into the highest good. These laws cannot be mastered in a single moment. They demand daily practice, relentless reflection, and the humility to learn from both success and failure. Every day offers a chance to embody them, in your work, in your relationships, and in the silence of your private thoughts. The Stoics never promised ease. What they promised was far greater, the ability to live well, even through difficulty. These laws are not ideas to admire, but disciplines to embody. When practiced consistently, they do more than guide your choices. They transform who you are, allowing resilience, integrity, and peace to flow naturally in every chapter of life. And this, my friends, is where your journey with Stoicism truly begins. If you found value in these teachings, I invite you to continue walking this path with us here at Stoic Sage Academy. This channel exists to keep these timeless principles alive, not as dusty philosophy, but as living wisdom you can apply every single day. So, reflect on what you've learned, carry it into your life, and when you're ready for deeper lessons, join us again. Because the pursuit of wisdom is endless, and together we'll keep moving forward with clarity, discipline, and virtue.